Okay, this is Rick McMillan, and this is year number 3 we're starting. We've completed 2 years with this Black & Decker mower, and I've experienced a little bit of weakness, I think, in the battery here lately when I've been mowing. It's about mid-June, and I've heard from other people that the battery may not last more than 2 years, or much more than 2 years, and that's right where we're at. So I'm going to take it out today and let you see what the mower's like, how powerful it is after 2 full years and maybe just a little bit more, a couple of months more of use. And the grass is real thick. It is gotten well fertilized and well watered this year. I think that's part of the reason I'm having so much trouble, is because it is so thick. You know, it is St. Augustine grass, and there may be some Bermuda in there occasionally. Just a reminder, push the button, hold it in before you start with the handle. And here's the setting that I have it set on. There's a little green gauge that says if it's above this, it does better on the mulching. And with St. Augustine, we tend to cut it a little bit high. The way it always starts, push the button. So it starts off pretty strong, no problem. I have it on self-propelled right now, since I'm using one hand, because it's really difficult to push it with just one hand, at least for me. But it's not hesitating any in the front yard, and it's about, I see the wheels are locked back there. It won't pull back. You don't let it roll far enough forward, those wheels lock before you try to pull back if you use the drive. And the power seems okay for now. Usually, I've noticed this year that usually the second half it gets a little wimpy, and this is the first year I've really noticed that. Okay, I'm in the backyard. I've trimmed out the back with a mower, and I am noticing the power going way down. You know, in Houston, batteries don't tend to last more than 5 years just starting a car. So it doesn't surprise me too much with the use that this mower gets that the battery may be wearing out, because we mow from like early March till sometime in November, and so they get a real workout. But anyway, I'll let you hear what it sounds like. It's still mowing, and it still has a charge. Well, it's only showing 1 bar, so it doesn't have much. Notice how much quieter it is than it was before. Now I'm using the self-propelled, and it may just die here. I don't know. It's really hard for me to push it without the self-propelled while I'm filming. Well, I made it through that pass. It's just barely running right now, but the grass is really tall too, and it's really thick. It's a lot denser here in the back than it was in the front. Just barely making it. It's still cutting. And one thing also, I've never sharpened the blade on this after 2 years, ever actually, after 2 years of use. I'm just kind of lazy that way. The grass is how tall it is. I don't know if you can tell that well or not, but anyway, that's probably all I'm going to film on this. I'm thinking about getting a replacement battery and see if it perks up after that. This is Rick again, and I did purchase a spare battery for my Black & Decker mower, so I can test out my theory that the battery that originally came with the mower is now getting old and weak and is no longer able to give me a full charge throughout the entire mowing session. It's losing power about halfway through. So this one has the advantage of it came with a charger, just like the one that's connected to the mower, only you can see it connects directly to the battery, the back of the battery. And you can see by the green light that it is fully charged. So I'm going to try it out today and see if it makes a big difference on the power that I have halfway through my mowing. Hopefully this will fix it. And all I've done with this mower is leave it in the garage on the trickle charger day in, day out, all through the winter when I'm not using it, which is really kind of a short period in Houston, and all during the summer. So here I'm going to start up the mower, and so you can hear the sound of the old battery. Then I'll pop in the new one, and you can hear the sound of the new battery, if it sounds any different on power. So I'll go ahead and put the safety plug in, hold the key, you see there's a little release. That comes straight out. There's a lot of dirt in there. You can see this is the bottom of the mower. It does not accumulate any grass, which is wonderful. So, okay, this is the way this goes in. It should slide straight in and clamp it shut. Even though this clamp doesn't really do anything. Sounds about the same to me, but we'll see how it does later on in the mowing to see if the second. I just want you to see how tall the grass is. It's probably been 8 or 9 days since I last mowed, so the grass is a little taller than it was last time even. You can see how high it comes up on the wheels. It's going to be a real challenge. So anyway, here we are starting off with the new battery. The self-propelled function, which I'd almost quit using because the battery was getting so weak in the past, and it's not slowing down at all. Pretty tall grass, and it's cutting up without any hesitation at all. Okay, I'm in the backyard, and I trimmed out the backyard and mowed the front, completed. And you can see here how tall the grass is. It's not super thick, but it is super tall. Very, very tall after only 9 days since I last mowed, 8 or 9 days. Anyway, here we go. What I've noticed so far, there doesn't seem to have been any reduction in power this whole time. Certainly not like the old battery. So let's see how it goes. And here I am using the self-propelled mode. And it's not slowing down at all. It's just barely making it. This newer battery definitely is making a huge difference. It's like a brand new. Okay, here I am finishing up the very last spot of my yard, and still going strong, hadn't slowed down any. So obviously the problem I had was a weak battery, and I am using the self-propelled mode, and it's doing great. No problem at all. That's it. That's all she wrote. And it did a very nice job. Did a very nice job. My conclusion is new battery, new life for the mower. The motor seems to work just as well as it did brand new, at least in my opinion, from what I can tell. Okay, one of the things I read online was that these batteries can be opened up, and there's 3 cells inside. And I looked, and there's a couple of screws here and down here that I can remove and see if that's true, and see if maybe replacing the cells would be cheaper than replacing the whole battery. Or maybe my problem is the fact. Okay, I've removed the screws, and let me just give you a word of warning. These are pretty powerful batteries, and they are hot, so there may be an electrical shock risk if you try to do this yourself. So I'm not recommending that you do this unless you are pretty well versed with handling high voltage batteries. This is 36 volts, but you can see the inside. There are three battery cells inside, and you can see they're clearly marked positive and negative, and it looks fairly simple inside. So you know, it looks feasible that if you're familiar with using batteries and fairly handy around electrical things, that you could probably check these out and replace them individually. They are marked, so you should be able to find a replacement, I would think, online without too much trouble. There are 3 12-volt batteries inside this casing. There were 2 terminals. I've already removed them on this one battery, and they were kind of hard. And what I did is I marked one positive and one negative for when I replace them, so I'll know how they go back together. It's a fairly simple setup. There are 2 wires going to the indicator on the front here, and then the wires kind of spread out, and they connect to the batteries to the turned down terminals on each side. And I've labeled each one so that when I take them off, I'll know where they go back. Again, don't do this unless you're very comfortable working with electronics already and took the battery out. Now there's a piece of tape in here that sticks these batteries together, so it may be a little difficult to remove. Here's the battery. It is a long, which I guess is short for Kung Long batteries. It is a long WP12-12 12 volts 12 amp hour batteries, and I've already looked these up online, and I found a replacement battery for $20 each plus shipping, and shipping's fairly high, so buying 3 replacement batteries is about $80 with shipping and tax. So I'm going to give that a try and see how it works. I've already bought a replacement battery, and it seems to be working well, but this would be a much cheaper alternative. The replacement battery is about $127. This going this route would be about $81, $82, something like that. Only if you're comfortable working with electronics like this. Okay, here are the batteries that I got. The equivalent batteries, I couldn't get the exact battery as the long, so I got the Sigma Tech, and you can see the specifications on the side. They match the long battery, 12 volt 12 amp per hour, and hopefully they'll work. We'll see. And my cat is inspecting the batteries just to make sure they're okay before I put them in the case. He's our quality control expert. Okay, I have the new batteries in and all wired up. Just need to put the top back on. Hopefully I can get everything back in place the way it was, and then put it on the charger and hope that nothing goes wrong. Okay, there's one thing I wanted to warn you about on the battery is when you take it apart, this area right here, this plug goes into the mower. That's what powers the mower. When you take that out, there's a little bar that holds that in place. It's just a bar that kind of goes through the middle of this white connector. So when you take it apart, make sure you don't lose that bar, make sure you know where it goes when you put it back together, because I think it's critical to keep this from sliding back and forth. It keeps this secure. So look for the little bar if you do take the battery apart. Make sure you don't lose it, and make sure you put it back in the same place. Thanks. Okay, there's one other thing I wanted to mention, and that is the plug that goes in this area. You want to make sure you have it oriented the same way when you put it back together as the way it was, because it's one side's positive and one side's negative. And I wasn't real careful when I did that, so just to make sure I had it oriented the proper direction, what you should do actually is mark one side left and one side right, or negative and positive, so you'll know that when you put it back together. The other thing I did, I took a multimeter and I checked the voltage, see which side was positive, and made sure they were the same on each side. And I have done that, and they read roughly about 40 volts, both batteries. And I've charged this one, and I'm fixing to take it out and try it in the mower and see how it works. Okay, I'm going to put the battery in. You can see here's the contacts where the mower connects with the battery. So just slide right in. And there it does. Put the clamp that doesn't do anything on. Let's try it out, see if it'll start. And it starts! Success! Cool. See how it mows. It's not hesitating at all. It's not slowing down, and I am using the self-propelled feature to make the mower move, since I am using one hand to record this. Something I learned on batteryuniversity.com, I think that's the name of the website, that heat does degrade batteries, so I'm going to be leaving my batteries indoor from now on and switch them out between this refurbished battery and the new replacement battery I got. And hopefully I might get 20 or 30% extra life out of the batteries. I'd like to get more like 50%, but we'll see. That'll take a while to figure out. Just so you know, it's around the 1st of August. The grass is in the stick, I think, as it was last time, but it's running great. The OEM batteries that I replaced myself in the old battery case seem to work just fine. Thanks. That's all I got. It did a good job. Okay, this is Rick McMillan, and this is year number 3 we're starting. We've completed 2 years with this Black & Decker mower, and I've experienced a little bit of weakness, I think, in the battery here lately when I've been mowing. It's about mid-June, and I've heard from other people that the battery may not last more than 2 years, or much more than 2 years, and that's right where we're at. So I'm going to take it out today and let you see what the mower's like, how powerful it is after 2 full years and maybe just a little bit more, a couple of months more of use. And the grass is real thick. It is gotten well fertilized and well watered this year. I think that's part of the reason I'm having so much trouble, is because it is so thick. You know, it is St. Augustine grass, and there may be some Bermuda in there occasionally. Just a reminder, push the button, hold it in before you start with the handle. And here's the setting that I have it set on. There's a little green gauge that says if it's above this, it does better on the mulching. And with St. Augustine, we tend to cut it a little bit high. So I really like the way it always starts. Push the button,